couple of years ago, I backed the Bird Buddy. It's a smart bird feeder that was available on Kickstarter. I wasn't the only one. This was a very popular campaign, and while some people in the US got theirs last year, mine's only just arrived here in the UK. The thing that's smart about the Bird Buddy is that it takes pictures and videos of the birds that feed from it. It then attempts to identify those, and it'll send updates on these to an app on your phone. Now, here's the thing that appealed to me about it. A few years ago, I caught sight of a hedgehog on the home security camera. As a result, I bought a couple of Blink outdoor cameras and over a period of time moved these around the garden to see where the hedgehog was going. As a result, I tried to make the garden more hedgehog-friendly by building a ramp, and then I got it a house. And in time, I ended up with more hedgehogs. But over the years, unfortunately, they all disappeared for one reason or another. They got run over, probably. But anyway, the hedgehog cameras also used to capture some nice clips of birds. And later, I also used one of the cameras that I'd previously used for the hedgehogs to record a squirrel that started visiting. This is Naughty the squirrel, and it's been coming almost every day for well over a year now. And naturally, sometimes the motion activation on the squirrel cam happens to capture some nice pictures of birds visiting the garden too, like this jay. So you can see that I enjoy seeing what turns up in the garden. That's why I ordered the Bird Buddy. Now, I ordered the one with a solar roof to help keep the camera charged up, or at least prolong the battery life. The camera takes 5 megapixel stills and 720p video with a 120-degree lens and communicates via your home Wi-Fi. So you need to be able to place the camera near enough to your house for it to get a signal, which is no problem in my small garden. Of course, this all relies on a smartphone app which catalogues the bird visitors and allows you to interact with the camera module, and the app is available for iOS or Android via various app stores. The first job out of the box is to charge the camera via its USB-C connection. The charging light on it is very difficult to see, and this issue was acknowledged and improved via a firmware update. But of course, you have to first wait for it to charge before you can apply that update. So whilst that's happening, I'm moving on to the mounting options. It comes with a rope to hang it from a tree, but that would be no use to me as I need light to be able to get to the top of this for that solar panel. Other options available are a wall mount, a fence mount and a pole mount. The pole attachment is included with the set that I've got here. The other mounts are options. The bird seed is filled through a door on the back. My solar roof was already installed on it. It clips on top of the regular roof. You can add one later if you want. But it only has a solar panel on one side, so you'll need to angle that to get the most sun. Oh, and you are supplied with a seed scoop to aid in filling it up, and notice that the bottom section where the seed rests has holes in it to keep the seed dry. And if you're wondering about the speckled nature of the plastic, that's because it's made using recycled material. There are also a couple of mounts on the front to hold additional accessories, but while I'm waiting for this thing to charge, I need to find a pole to stand it on. Apparently it uses a standard size birdhouse pole. I wasn't aware that there was such a thing, but sure enough, when I took a trip to my local DIY store, they didn't have anything in that size. I took the opportunity though to stock up on some bird seed, and I found a square wooden post that I could whittle down to fit into the round hole. With the device pretty much charged up, I continued with the setup procedure, updated the firmware, which took ages, and installed the camera in the feeder. It's held in there with a security screw in the back, and there's also a magnet that the camera module uses to recognise when it's in position. I filled the feeder up with birdseed and waited. I presumed it's going to take a couple of days for the birds to get used to this, but 2 days passed without any notifications at all. And then on day 3, the missus was working from home, and she says, "Oh, you should have loads of birds showing up on your app now. They've been on and off that table all morning." But I looked at the app and there hadn't been any visitors. So I went out and double-checked everything. It all looked fine. The connection was 100%, but just in case the camera was having difficulty picking out the birds against the background, I spun the table round so it was facing a fence. And then another day of no activity. I was about to write to the manufacturers saying I got a faulty one, I needed a replacement, when finally some notifications came through. Now, the first bird that I looked at, I couldn't recognise. So looking at the picture, I had to pick one from the list. I thought, well, it's most likely a sparrow. I know we've got those in the garden. But then when it showed me the video, I could tell it was actually something different. It's a hedge sparrow or a dunnock. But it was too late. I'd already picked it now, and I couldn't find out how to correct my mistake. Never mind, moving on to the other ones it had spotted. Well, these were correctly identified as a dunnock or hedge sparrow and a robin. And after a lot of trial and error, I did manage to correct the misidentified one as well, but it wasn't obvious what you had to do. Basically, over the course of a day, though, it had just seen 3 visits from birds, and there were definitely a lot more. So I borrowed the squirrel camera and set it up facing the table to see how much the bird buddy was missing. And sure enough, checking the results the next day revealed that things on the table were a lot busier than it had been letting on. It's not like the bird buddy is supposed to ignore repeat visitors. As you can see here, on the day the squirrel camera saw perhaps 50 visits, the bird buddy reported on just 1, and it was the robin again. I've got to say, though, that it got a really good picture of it. I just wish it had made as much effort with whatever else had turned up that day. I ended up spinning the table back around because the solar panel wasn't getting enough sun facing that way. The Wi-Fi signal throughout all this remained at maximum with no issues with connection whatsoever. And it turned out the angle of the camera made no difference. It was still spotting the occasional bird in this orientation too. Now, the app is a little bit weird in a number of ways, though, like how it asked me to identify this bird from a picture of its arse. So I guess at robin, since that one's a regular visitor, I thought, well, why not? And it's only at this point it then shows me a video where it's obvious it was a robin. It would be nice if it had shown me the video before I had to decide what it was. So far, the app tells me I've had 2 different types of bird visit the table. One 4 times and the other 3. But you can see how much the seed has gone down by, that this table has been used a heck of a lot more than that. Talking of my massive and varied collection of birds, though, I've got a good Dunnock picture here, but when you click on it to view the gallery of pictures of that bird, it looks like that picture isn't there. The problem is, the pictures and the video are all taken in portrait, but then the gallery thumbs for them are all in landscape and they cut off the important bit. But things like that are just a simple software fix. The fact that almost all my bird visits are going unnoticed is more of an issue. Of course, now is the time to break out the perennial YouTube comment, maybe yours is faulty. All together now.
Maybe yours is faulty.
Which, if true, solidifies my claim for the position of the most unlucky tech buyer in history. But then again, if this thing did alert me every single time a bird ate some seed, my phone would have a meltdown. It'd be nice if it just noticed if something new was happening and then told me when a previously unseen bird had been spotted, but at the moment it's like a bird spotter who accidentally left his lens caps on. And 1 time in 100, when it worked like it was supposed to, it did get me a nice picture of a robin, but then I'd have to sell quite a few Christmas cards with this image before this smart bird table starts turning out to be a smart buy. But anyway, that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.